You're wrong about Arlecchino, and here's why. Because if you recall at the end of her Storyquest in her boss fight...
Still, not strong enough to beat me.
But you know what, Arlecchino, fair enough, you are a very high-ranking harbinger. However, what you've unknowingly done is caused deceit and lies. In the nation of Fontaine, for whatever reason, it has become common misconception that the Traveler was unneeded to deal with the issues, or that the Traveler was a weakling, a bystander. This is incorrect. The role of Descenders in Tevat is to have a will that surpasses even fate's own, a will strong enough to change fate, as mentioned in the Sumeru Arlecchino. Do you know the main issue that Fontaine faced? I want you to know if you said primarily seawater, I'm onto you and I don't like you. I mean, talk about misconstruing what I'm trying to say on purpose, man.
When the prophecy is...
That is correct, Nouvelette. We are in fact talking about the prophecy which plagued Fontaine all throughout its main Arlecchino. The Arlecchino doesn't do an excellent job at showing it, but the reason that the prophecy was able to be recalibrated and quote-unquote stopped primarily was the presence of the Descender, which we learn in one of the Fontaine world quests. You're probably thinking, that's very neat, but Lyric, what does this have to do with Arlecchino and the Traveler's misconception? Well, if we look back to Arlecchino's fight, where Arlecchino beats the Traveler, anyone with eyes will see that the Traveler is using the dual blade, which is rather interesting because at this point we know that if the fight is serious, the Traveler will switch to the prototype Rancor, as they did in the Aranara World Quest. I said that so confidently, but I actually haven't finished the Aranara World Quest. I just vividly remember seeing them using the prototype Rancor on one of the cutscenes on YouTube, so I'm going with it. What I can say for certain, however, is that regardless of what weapon the Traveler actually used, it doesn't take away from my point here. Considering that all throughout Arlecchino's Storyquest, the Traveler brings up one singular question repeatedly, and that is, does the Knave actually want this? Is this what the Knave wants to do? The Traveler has doubts about Arlecchino wanting to kill the children of the House of the Hearth. The Traveler is a very interesting character when it comes to their morality. A very selfish sort of too. But I think that's what allows them to immediately think that Arlecchino isn't actually going to kill the children of the House of the Hearth, but instead do something else, which is something she does because instead of killing them, she erases their memories, essentially annihilating their selves. Which is actually horrifying if you think about it, but that's a topic for another video.
Still, not strong enough to beat me.
I have no ground to deny the fact that the Traveler would have lost even if they were actually trying to win the battle. But the Traveler was not trying to win the battle, and I'm tired of seeing people call them weak based off of the Arlecchino boss fight. And now, your argument against me is probably going to be, Lyric, look at the Traveler's expression. And okay, let's. Lyric, is this the face of a guy who knows that this is all a fake fight? And to that I'd say, no, I wouldn't make that face if I knew everything was fake, unless I was a good actor.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the most spectacular show in the history of Fontaine. Please put your hands together for our national icon, Fontaine's biggest celebrity, one of the 7 archons of Tevat, the Regina of all waters, kindred, peoples, and laws, Marina de Fontaine!
If I didn't know any better, I would think that perhaps acting has a place in Fontaine's culture. Oh, wait a minute. If we want to use the argument of the Traveler's expressions, we also need to look at Arlecchino's expressions. Arlecchino also looks like she's in a genuine fight. So if Arlecchino's serious and the Traveler's serious, then who's being silly? You know, I really should have expected that. Of course, it's Twitter. Now, you might be wondering what the point of this video was, and to that I'll ask, why haven't you been paying attention? Or you're wondering why I'm still going, and that's because I'm dragging this out for runtime. Yes, Arlecchino probably would have beat the Traveler regardless of any of the things I've brought up, but the fact that Twitter uses this play it consistently for agenda posting, even though it's from the Fontaine arc, and we're months away from Shazaniah, that's like 2 arcs later, 3 arcs even, it's really just annoying and perplexing. Especially because the Traveler wasn't that serious about the fight. When the Traveler is serious, it's pretty easy to tell because of the prototype rancor or actual things. But the quest goes out of its way to make the Traveler doubt Arlecchino was going to actually kill the House of the Hearth. And I don't think they would have done that if the Traveler was going to bring their A-game to the Arlecchino fight. I guess what I'm saying is you fell for the character's facade that was meant to be dismantled by the viewer.
Not strong enough to beat me.